time to bring back to the stage the one and only Marina Worry.
But come on, guys, brace up. It's going to be an hour that you will never forget. It's going to be so much fun because, like I told you earlier, I love spending time with people who are more successful than me, more powerful than me, more influential than me, because no matter at what level you are, there is always something that you can pick up from their stories, from their strategies, from their ideas. So I'm so excited to bring this badass group of women who are like totally leading the charts inside of our profession, who are showing us what's possible, who are encouraging and building the belief in all of us. And as you know, we ask all of you to submit the questions for this amazing group of women, because if you had the opportunity to ask 7- and 8-figure earner how they got there, what was their biggest struggle, what was the thing that impacted them the most, like, wouldn't it be so much fun and helpful for all of us to, you know, get a little bit faster to where we want to go and become as powerful and as influential and successful as they are. So with no further ado, I have my amazing panel. Please help me welcome on stage Lisa Grossman, Jessie Lee Ward, Sarah Zalaki, and Stormy Wellington.
Can't hold me back. Yeah, I'm a badass woman. Just made like that, but I'm proud of that. 'Cause I'm a badass woman. Never second guess me. 'Cause baby, I'm the boss. Don't underestimate me.
Where do you guys want? And guys, I'll need the questions. If somebody can bring me the questions, please.
I am smarter than you give me credit for. And I'm way stronger than I ever been before. I'm a force of nature that you can't ignore. You can't ignore, you can't ignore no more. I'm a bad
Somebody has to have the questions that the audience asks. Guys, my crew, can you please bring me those questions? Unless I'm missing something, but so before we get there, I have my questions, right, that I would love to ask and start this conversation. So all of you are absolute badasses and total rock stars, and today nobody has any questions that you are absolutely bulletproof and you are absolutely amazing and you leading the charts inside of your teams and having families and getting there, right? And how, like, I know, I guess I know the feeling today, but where did you start? Where, Lisa, I know that you started a long time ago and you've been in this profession and you've seen it all, you've done it all, but tell a little bit of your story and how did you get started?
Well, 33 years ago when wagons were going west and kerosene was giving the way to electric light bulbs, I was introduced to the wonderful, wacky world of network marketing in a very traditional way. A relative called me, excited, making no sense, told me she was going to become a multimillionaire. Could she come over? And came over and proceeded to start taking apart my sink and hooking something up to it. And I said, "You're going to be a plumber?" And she said, no, this is amazing. You're going to try it. You're going to try it for a week. The water's going to taste better. And I did, and it did. And I said, I'll buy it. And I was excited about that because she was an aunt. I was buying it anyway, right? It actually worked. That was nice. And I said, so how much is it? She said, $179. I said, well, how much money do you make? And she said, oh, $55, but eventually I can make as much as $120. And I'm doing the math. She's going to be a millionaire. Like, that's a lot of sinks. How are you going to do that? And she said, watch a video. And I did. and it made no sense, but some sense, and was intriguing. And then she put me on the phone with somebody who started talking about that he was making $30,000 a month, which back then was still a lot of money. But back then it was like, wow. And I'm like, from those? He said, go to a meeting. I went to the meeting. I sat through it. I thought it was the wackiest thing I'd ever been to. It seemed to go on forever, Marina. And then finally people started getting up. And I'm like, oh my God, thank God it's over. And I stood up and she said, oh no, the best part, sit back down. I'm like, there's more? Oh, wow, okay. But the more was the stories. People walking across the stage, sharing their stories. And they were financially impressive, but they were lifestyle mind-boggling because they were describing a control over their own lives and how they lived it that just made no sense to me, but I wanted it. So when it was over, I went to the lobby, went to the payphone, I'm dating myself, called Steve, my husband, and he said, how bad was it? And I said, sweetie, it was so much worse than even I could imagine except for two things. And he said, what? I said, these people are dumber than we are. They're uglier than we are, but they are happier and making more money than we do. So I want to do it. And he said, no problem, as long as you don't talk to anybody we know. Which, not understanding network marketing, I agreed to, not the first promise I broke. And I jumped in with both feet and loved it. It was giving me an escape from a family business. That was my start. It was wonderful. That was chapter 1. Later on, when some things went crazy in my life, and if you don't know my story, Eric's interviewed me on it, but suffice to say that I'm living proof that you can go from jailbird, which I was, to soaring eagle, which I believe I've become in this space, because nobody cares where you come from, only where you're going and who you're willing to take with you. And it's been a 30-year roller coaster, 33-year roller coaster that I wouldn't trade for anything.
Love that. Love this story. Absolutely. JCD, tell everybody how you got started and what was your kind of like experience and introduction to network marketing.
Yeah, so hey guys, what's going on? It's Jessie Lee. You can call me Boss Lee. So first thing that I'll just say about it is please don't judge anybody when it comes to this business, because unfortunately I recruited myself, right? I was a Google search. I was the girl living in a basement. I needed $300 a month extra to pay my rent because I was having a rent increase, which is happening right now. So there's a lot of people who need an opportunity like this. I never thought it would be anything like this, but it was either eviction or it was you do something. And DoorDash didn't exist. There was no Uber Eats. There were none of these gig economy things that exist now. It was some kind of at-home business. And so a Google search of at-home businesses that make the most money, the very first thing that popped up is what I joined. And I got corporate sorted. You know, I don't know how everyone's companies work, but I got dumped under somebody that was in, you know, a 25-mile radius of me or whatever. And I mean, I'd hate to say the rest is history, but I just wanted to make $300. And $300, if that's how big your dream is right now, that's big enough, right? You see people on stage now, 8-figure earners, and you're like, oh my God. It doesn't start like that. Like, I don't care what anybody says. Like, that's not, maybe some of you out there are the dreamers, but for me, I was the girl that went to college and I thought, you know, you get the good job and you have the benefits and you make everybody proud with your 401k. And like, if you don't have a Roth IRA, what are you doing with your life? And I mean, like, I was on your normal path of Susie Orman or whatever her name is with her bad financial advice. No offense. You know, like I thought it was good, man. I thought it was good. And it's just the truth. And, at $300, when I made that, I said, oh my God, maybe I can make $500. Like if I made $500, like then I could start, you know, maybe going out with my friends again, because I was lying about why I wasn't going out. I don't know, we all kind of probably had moments like that where you're like, no, I'm just so tired. No, I'm so broke. And when I made 500, my dream became 1,000. When I made 1,000, my dream became, okay, well, what would I have to do to make 2,000? And 2,000 to 5,000, 5,000 to 10,000. And it just started getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And the only thing I'll say to that, and I'll let Stormy talk, is you have to understand the limit doesn't exist. And I know for some of you that doesn't make any sense logically to you right now, but the limit doesn't exist. It's somewhere in your mind. You're putting some kind of limitation on what you can do. And Stormy and I have a really great relationship because, for a lot of reasons, but One of which is she's coming up to me and she's like, well, Jesse Lee, like I met you at something. And I said, that girl is looking like that doing this. And she's making at the time, $250,000 a month. Like, what? And then she's like, that's it. I can't have her be the one making, and then so we're like having this internal competition, but understand in like a good way, a healthy way. She'll probably tell you. But like, if I can make $500,000 a month, why can't you make $1 million, right? It's just that you maybe don't understand that it's possible. And that's another reason to get around rooms like this. To the example of Eric and Marina, it's like, I have all these moments where Marina's like, well, where's your jet? I'm like, damn. You know, or Eric's like, go do this, go ask for it. I'm like, damn. Or he's, you know, it's like, what, wait, hold on. How much money oh my God. But the limit doesn't exist. If you have an internet connection and a phone, like, just shoot for things that don't make sense and let God figure it out. So that's me.
Love this. And, you know, you touched on something very interesting because a lot of us think that, especially looking at this sophisticated women right now, right? They're wearing a lot of jewelries, they're beautiful, they're put together, they're confident, they're badasses. And for whatever reason, first of all, we think that we were born this way. Not quite. And for whatever reason, people think that people at the top, they don't have problems. People at the top, they don't have challenges. People at the top, they don't have naysayers. And they were pretty much fell off onto the top right away, the first minute. And that's not true either. And that's why I love Stormy's story so much, because it just shows you that no matter where you're coming from, you can be whoever you want to be, as long as you put your mind into it, as long as you put your focus into it, and as long as you put all the efforts, everything that you've got to design, develop, and grow the woman or the man you always wanted to be. So, Stormy, tell about your story, how you were introduced to network marketing.
So, thank you, by the way. I was introduced to network marketing, and thank you guys. First of all, get excited for being here.
Yeah, right?
I mean, like, you're at the most powerful women event in network marketing. Come on, y'all get excited for being here. Come on. Yes. We could be anywhere in the world, but you are at the most powerful woman in network marketing. And that's my story. You know, you have to believe that you're the most powerful woman. Regardless of where you are right now, you got to know that you're there because you're supposed to be there. It could be just a position for you to grow, a position for you to realize that there's more for you to do. And I started in network marketing really back in Mary Kay. That was my first company. I got recruited in the mall. They told me I was pretty and I wanted to be a model. I'm like, okay, cool, I'm gonna be a model one day. And so I went to one of the events and I signed up, but it really wasn't that simple. And so that experience made me just like not really believe in the industry. So I'm that person that thought that it was a scam, that, you know, the money only went to the top. And so I didn't last very long. And so that was at about 18. Then I turned 28. And when I turned 28, I was working a dead-end job. I used to do customer service. Well, not customer service. I was collections. So I was the one that would call you to try to get you to pay your phone bill. And you'll be like, oh, yeah, she's not here, but it was you saying she's not here. And I ended up collecting $1 million in closed accounts in 7 months. And what that basically means is that my boss, you know, gambled with me with a bunch of accounts that was closed, and they had no idea that I was going to bring in $1 million in 7 months. No one knew that back home my water was off. I turned my water back on with my pliers. My lights was only on because I made payment arrangements, and I was, you know, from payment arrangement to payment arrangement. And then one day my boss calls me in the office and tells me that, you know, I'm going to get a raise. And it took about 3 months, and I remember just so excited, about this raise because I'm thinking I'm going to go from $13 an hour to maybe 18, 19, time and a half. I'm rich. And when they finally told me my raise was 25 cents, that day changed my life. That was my defining moment. And I believe that all of us, we have moments that define us, or shall I say redefine us. And that moment, I realized that I have to go give myself a raise. And so I prayed. And when I prayed, my network marketing opportunity literally came to my house. To kind of speed the story up, my home was, you know, in foreclosure. And I come from a hustling background. My mom sold drugs, my dad sold drugs. So I always watched my family hustle. And I was about to rent my house out, even though the mortgage hadn't been paid. I said, okay, if I could collect first, last, and security on the home that's in foreclosure, I could take that money, move, and at least buy at least 6 months to collect rent. And someone came to rent my house, and I'll never forget this day. The gentleman said, I will rent your house out. I will actually pay you $5,000 more than you're asking, but I need you to complete the basement. And so I called somebody over, a guy to renovate my basement, and he looked at me, and I remember him saying to me, what if I told you that I had the way that you could lose some weight? And I remember looking at him like, you trying to call me fat? And that was his recruitment pitch. And he's like, no, my wife looks amazing. She lost all of this weight. If you see my wife, and he just kept edifying his wife. Y'all should write that down. He kept edifying his wife, how she's so amazing, how she lost all this weight. She looks better after having a baby. And it intrigued me so much that I wanted to meet his wife. I didn't care about the money. He said she was making like $60,000 a month. I just wanted to know, was this woman as fine as he said she was? And the truth is, I went to my very first network marketing meeting to be nosy. It was free. I heard that I could get some food, and I was nosy. And I went, and I remember saying to myself, and this is no disrespect to anybody, but we need to start looking at people and saying, I could do that. How many of y'all look up here and say, I could do what Lisa just did. I could do what Boss Lee did. I could do what Stormy's doing. I could do what, Sarah. I could do these things. And so I looked at her, and I said, I could do that. And even if I could just make $6,000 a month, my life would change. And I got in with the attitude of, I could do that, and I think I could do it maybe better than her. So I got in, I let her mentor me, and the rest, like Boss Lee said, was history. I made my first $1 million in my first year. Yes, I made my first $1 million in my first year. And this is what I would say. I believed that I could. And that is what I really hope for everyone, that this weekend increases your belief. Because whatever you believe is right. If you believe that you could, then you can. If you believe that you can't, then both is right. Those both are beliefs. Believing you can is a belief, and believing that you can't is a belief. The number one thing that we got to do is believe bigger, faster.
Love this, love this. And it's so interesting how these defining moments come in different packages and at different times, like that raise, that slap in the face. Pretty much, right? It was not a raise, it was a slap in the face. And at that time, I'm sure you were pissed, and at that time you were sad, but it was the biggest blessing, right? It was the biggest blessing for you, and it was the biggest blessing to our profession, because without that, you would be probably waiting for another raise. If they raised your salary for $2, $3, whatever you expected to be okay, you would probably be stuck for some other stuff, and they would be keeping you with different promises, and you would be living beneath of your potential, and millions of lives that you are changing because of that would not be changed.
Yes.
So just remember the power that when one life is changed, when one person decides to go after, when one person decides to, enough is enough and I'm meant for more, you cannot imagine the ripple effect that can come out of that. And the lives that you can touch and the lives that you can inspire, it's just absolutely enormous. So, Stormy, thank you for them not giving you a raise.
Thank you.
Sarah, what about you? What was your introduction to the profession?
Hi, Sarah Zalecki. So I got introduced to the profession. I was 21 years old. My boyfriend at the time actually introduced me. And he actually hadn't been involved in the company for about 5 months, but he waited 5 months. And his sponsor kept saying, you need to talk to your girlfriend. You need to talk to your girlfriend. And he kept saying, oh, she'd never want to do this. She wouldn't be interested. I didn't even know he was in network marketing. He hid the products. I never saw it. And finally, he invited me to come take a look at it. And I accepted the invitation. And what's interesting is the first 3 times that they invited me to go to a meeting, I no-showed on them. And then finally, on the 4th time, I showed up, and I was in, and I'll never forget, I was sitting in a meeting, and the room was packed, and there was a girl that was in front of the room, and she was wearing silver shoes, and it sold me. No joke, that's what I got excited about. And I always wanted to be a teacher. My whole life, I wanted to be a kindergarten teacher, and she sat in front of the room, and she talked about how she was a teacher. And she talked about what she loved and why she loved this business and how much her life had changed. And I, like Stormy said, I looked at her and I was like, I can do that. I can do that. And came on board, and I definitely went through the school of hard knocks with the business, or I wish I had these amazing success stories right away, but I went through 3 companies, and my first 2 companies went out of business. And so I really reevaluated, like, am I in the right place? Is this where I should be? I went through a lot of heartache. I remember my first company, when it closed, I remember just crying and just thinking, like, why did I go through these 5 years of heartache? Because at that point in my business, in 5 years, I finally had, like, started to figure it out, and I started making some decent money. And then all of a sudden, the rug was pulled out from underneath me, and I was always questioning, like, why did I go through what I did? And now I look back, obviously I know because of experience, and it helped me become who I am today. But I'm so grateful for all those experiences, because I think that for me, I love the fact that when people go through different things in their business, like, I think for me, the blessing of being able to relate to so many people, because I've been through so much in this business. And I feel that I inspire them, where they go, oh my gosh, like, I can do this too. And so just know, like, the things that you go through, like, be excited about those things, because those are the things that, people can relate to you. And when people like you and trust you, they do business and they lock arms with you. So don't be afraid of those experiences when they happen. You need to be excited. And, for me, no matter what I go through in this business, I always go, my God, that's going to make a great story one day. That's going to be, like, I told my story about getting my car repoed. Like, I was like, my God, that's going to make a great story one day. And today was the day that I told that story 20 years later, right? So your stories are awesome.
Love this, love this. So we're going to go to the questions that you guys submitted. And the first question is coming from Angie Stewart, and we're going to see Angie in a second. So I'm not necessarily going to ask you the same questions 4 times. So I'll just ask the question, and whoever wants to talk about it, just raise your hand and start talking. All right? So Angie's question was, what's your DMO, daily method of operation, and what's the latest distinction you've observed that changed or tweaked something you were doing in your DMO before? Daily method of operation. So what was your daily method of operation, and what's the latest distinction or something that you observed changed, that because of that your daily method of operation changed?
I'll take that. So I believe that everything big was once small. And, as Lisa said, everybody, no, you said that. Everybody has on jewelry, and you see nice clothes, and Jesse changed 3 times, Sarah changed 3 times, Marina changed 3 times. It's like, you feel like a celebrity in network marketing. However, everything big was once small. I could never forget that my goal used to be to make $150 a day. I did not build my business on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. In the beginning, I would leave my house every day, and I heard Eric say this today, and this is the truth. I did not work my business like a business. I worked it like a job. And I remember saying to myself, if I give myself a raise, then I will go from $130 a day to $150 a day. And so I left my house every day at 9 o'clock, and I would not come home until I had earned $150. Why did I set that goal? Number 1, I wanted to give myself a raise, and number 2, my bills was around $4,000 a month. And so I just wanted to pay my bills in the beginning. And I believe that if everyone starts off like that and take personal responsibility, like, network marketing is not an adult daycare. Like, when you get into network marketing, find a coach that you can emulate, study that person, emulate that person, but don't depend on that person. If they quit or if they're building differently, remember, what is your goal? How much money must you make to cover your bills? And once you hit that goal, and y'all may want to write this down, one of my philosophies is progress is the key to happiness and the glue that makes happiness stick. If you want to see success in your business, do things every single day to make yourself proud. And as you're making yourself proud, it gives you this confidence and this air like you're unstoppable. Like, I just think that I'm unstoppable. I think I am really a badass in network marketing because nobody's going to stop me. And so I went from $150 a day to, guys, I've had $150,000 days. I've even had a $1.5 million day. But I was not afraid to start off with, I want to pay my bills. And if you could start there and don't depend on your upline, don't depend on your company, just look at the comp plan, as Eric said today. No, you said that today. And find out what activity must you do to hit your daily goal, and do not go to bed until you hit it, your whole life will change. And watch this. Once you do it, you can teach it. It's called Liddy. Learn, implement, tweak, teach, yes. Do it, create the results, and then now you get to be a leader. Here's one of my mantras. You got to be a leader of self before you could be a leader of any. A leader of self, then you can lead plenty. Y'all caught that? A leader of self before you can lead any. A leader of self, then you can lead plenty. Set your goals. Do not depend on nobody. Do not go to bed. In the days you hit your goal at 11 o'clock, celebrate it. Oh my God, I hit my goal at 11. Oh my God, you may have a short day. So now it's like I got a day off of work because I hit my goal. And then once you get in the rhythm of doing that, it's the same energy to make $150 a day for real that it is to make 1,000. It's the consistency that's missing.
I'll just add to that really fast because that was flame throwing. Love that. I think it's an overthinking question about like what are people's daily methods of operation. It tends, and I'm not saying it's you. I think your name was Angie. I'm not saying you're trying to get a cop out right now. I'm just saying it's very common. Well, Sarah, what do you do every day? Storm, what do you do You are not gonna do what I do every day. Okay, like I love y'all enough to tell you. If I told you my daily method of operation, I was doing it on an accelerator or something, and Eric stopped me by noon. Like I was like, do you guys really want to know? Oh, please, Boss Lee. I'm like, all right. And Eric's like, all right, we're at noon and this is already too much for people. Like, I want you to set a daily method of operation based off of what you know you're going to do, first of all. And second of all, you need to evaluate what it is that actually brings you a return on your time investment. It is different for everybody, okay? I don't do morning meditation. She does. It works. I do daily live video in a different way. It works. I do Reels, TikToks, Instagram, Facebook, podcast, YouTube every day, okay? I already freaked you out. You're not gonna do it. It's part of my daily method of operation. You understand? Like, what Lisa does, she spends more time on the phone in a day than I do in a month. I can't have her daily method of operation. If she got on here and told you how many hours she spends on the phone, I'm just telling you, I'd be like, that's how you gotta do network marketing? Oh dog, I'm out.
When I started, Alexander Bella just invented that thing. 10 years earlier, it would have been smoke signals.
But we all have different strengths. Every single one of you on here has different strengths. So I want you to find out what works well for you and find out what actually brings you a return on your investment. Turning points are all the same. It's not like, oh, I did this thing. It's moments like Stormy being, I mean, honestly, insulted by a 25-cent raise, right? It's getting your car repossessed and being like, oh my God, this is terrible. And it just shoves you into action. If I can tell you to do anything that is an action step though, whoever your mentor is, okay? It doesn't have to be one of us. Whoever your mentor is that you look up to, and mentors aren't people that you get assignments from. Eric was my mentor. He didn't even know it. I just stalked the man, okay? I silently followed everything he did. Follow the people who have what you want and copy them. You don't need me to tell you what my daily method of operation is. If you watch me, you're like, good God, okay. If you try to match my energy or Stormy's energy or Sarah's energy or Lisa's energy for 1 week, you know what? Do it for the next month. Try to match what we do for the next month, and tell me yo check don't go up. Like, it is in the action. It's in what we're doing. We're not overthinking, oh, well, at this time I should do this, at this. Just match the hatch. If you match the energy, you'll get the results. And you're just at a different stage. You're at a different chapter. But putting in the energy and matching the efforts of people that you are actually looking up to with the results that you actually want, that's how you create the daily method of operation in the life you want.
Can I just
love
jump on
this.
this real quick?
Of course.
I like what Jessie Lee said about overthinking. Please do not confuse strategy with desired outcome. People always want to know, what do I do? What does she do? What does she do? We all know what we want. We all know what we don't want. We all know where we're going. And I tell people all the time, don't get caught up in what you don't want to do. Oh, I can't do lives like Jessie Lee. I can't be successful. I can't do whatever Stormy does. I can't be successful. I don't have a spouse like Tony to sit there and go back and forth with. I can't be successful. Let me tell you something. If I tell you we're having an event in Florida, how are y'all going to get there? You're going to fly. If you're deathly afraid of flying, I'll try to get you over it. If you're not going to get over it, take a plane. Take a bus. There's more than one way to get to Florida. Florida's the goal. And the only person it matters to or that has to fly for their living is the stewardess and the pilot. Everybody else just has to get to Florida. How important it is to you to go there. Find a way.
Love this, love this. It's so interesting, how we overcomplicate things for absolutely no reason, because it always kind of like drives me sometimes crazy. And it might be a little controversial topic right now, but like when people tell me, it's like, tell me exactly what to say. I was like, who cares? Say it in your words. Say it in the words that you can relate and the person can understand. No, but give me the script. I was like, you're not going to say it in my words. You're going to say it in your words, because you are you, I am me. I am very straight shooter, and some people do not like that. And it's not duplicatable. Here's the thing. All these women, honestly, they're not duplicatable. Because they're all unicorns. Like Jessie Lee said, it's like, it's impossible to do what she does. It's impossible to do what Stormy does on a daily basis unless you figure out the way to put your excuses on the side, unless you go all out, unless you forget about, all the haters, all the nonsense, everything, and just do what is necessary to get to your goal. And you will figure out as you go what works, what doesn't work, and you will improve. Like Eric says, plan, do, review. You do the plan, you execute the plan, and whatever works better, you do it better next time. And whatever didn't work, you just put it aside and forget about it. But all of us doing things in a slightly different way, we bring our style, we bring our energy, but we, like Lisa said exactly, we know where we're going. We know why we're going there, but how we're going to get there might take different routes, might take different ways. So, Angie, I hope that answered your questions. I don't know, Sarah, do you want to add something, or you want to tackle the other one?
I guess I want to just chime in more. I love the point that you talked about. It's like with the DMO, people always ask me that. I think it's, we definitely know where we're going. Like when people ask, like, how do we go out and recruit what we did in the beginning? I don't have the perfect invite. If you ask the people that work with me, well, what did Sarah say? They don't know. All they knew is that they knew that I was going. They had fear of loss. They said, all I know is she's doing it with or without me, and I want to be part. And I think that's the thing is we had a big vision. We casted it out there, and we just ran with it. And so I think you've got to know why you're doing it. You have to have a hot, burning desire, and I mean, you just have to run for the hills with it. And I think that's the thing is people are going to buy that fire because people are looking to connect with people that can take them to the promised land. And we know that we can do that.
Right. Because the answer by the book would be like, okay, what are the things that you want to accomplish in your business, right? To have more customers, to sell more products, to create more leaders on your team. So figure out what are the things that you can do in your day that will improve the ROI on all these things, on all of those outcomes. And that's your daily method of operation. All right, so Angie, I hope you got an answer to your question. We're going to go to Angelica Gonzalez Benitez. And her question is, with your first high-earning paycheck, what would you invest in first?
One more time.
With your first high-earning paycheck, what would you invest in first?
I'll start there. The first thing you always invest in, low check, big check, high check, is you. That's where you start, okay? You are the game changer in any endeavor that you will ever enter into. So if you're not getting better, your results are not getting better. If you're not getting more educated, you're not getting more well-rounded in your business. And by the way, since I've got this opportunity, and I probably shouldn't do this, but we all want to do it anyway, this is like this sorority. Eric started this great big thing that's changed us all. She started this sorority 8 years ago. Everybody here says yes to every invitation that they have. So just to give you an idea of my career in 30 years, Eric got me on a stage outside of my company. You have to do it in your company. And I didn't want to do it. Sarah kept me on it because she told me to keep talking. Maybe I could help somebody. Scared me to death. This one, when I retired 6 years ago, told me, you need to get back in the game. 9 months later, I was back in the field in network marketing, which led me to this one, who I never would have met had she not found my phone when I was freaking out and nobody would help me. Went all over a casino for somebody she barely knew until she came back with my lost phone. And that was the first person I ever looked on a stage and said, oh my God, she's phenomenal, that came up to me and said I made a difference in her life. None of that would have been possible if we didn't all invest in ourselves first. And She's teaching. I don't know if you're teaching and a student. We're all going to this badass 10-week thing. Who's going with us? That's what I want to know. Because if you want, we're going to give you all the stuff we can give you for as long as Marina lets us go. But it's all a prelude to what you need 10 weeks of. Oh no, I'm up here. You cannot do it. But 10 weeks will advance your business 10 years. I believe that because it did for me. So I'm done.
I think we're all going to say invest in yourself. I know the person is asking investment information, or you want it, because you know all of us have multiple streams of income at this point. So I want to say, first of all, you keep the main thing, okay? I am major investor, and I'm telling you, keep the main thing. Network marketing is my main thing. I invest constantly in my education in this space. There's one thing, even when I was broke, you might want to write this down, that I never felt bad about spending money on, and that is books, okay? Like, guys, stop with the Starbucks cups, stop with the Starbucks period if you have to. I don't know, whatever. It was education, it was education, it was education, it was education. And still to this day, I know the amount of money, well, I don't know how much everyone is investing in, but I invest multiple six figures a year in my education right now. So if you've seen me speak before and you're like, man, she's flowing today and she gets better every time. We better get better every time. If we're not getting better every time, it's because we're not investing in ourselves. And I will tell you, when you get in rooms like this, for those of you who are like, but I want to be an investor and I want to have brick and mortar stores and I want to have my own brand. You need to get in the rooms with the people who know how to do it, my friends, and you got to pay to be in those rooms. Like, that's how this works. If I need to know how to get a jet, now I've got like six good friends who have jets, maybe 7. I don't need to go Google, how do I buy a jet? I can go, hey, Marina, or whoever, right? I've put myself in the right rooms. And even when it didn't necessarily make monetary sense, that is where my biggest investment went to. And then the last thing I'll say on this is, I said it on stage earlier, but we put too much emphasis on money. Money is fake. And as soon as you understand money is fake, it is just power and it is just energy. You will stop holding on to it like, oh. And I know you came from nothing. I know I came from nothing. I know, like, a lot of us came from a whole lot of nothing. Stop staring at your bank accounts like, oh, but it only has this, I'm so broke. No, you're literally staring at it like, it is energy. Put it to work. Don't buy dumb stuff. Put it to work. Invest in yourself. Get in the right rooms, and then you'll be able to invest in whatever. I hope that helps.
Love this, love this. Any of you want to add something?
Yes, of course, same sentiments. I believe that whatever your desired income is, you should try to invest at least 10% into your desired income. If your goal is $1 million a year, you should at least try to invest at least $10,000 into your personal growth and development. Just like Jesse, literally I invest hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in my mind to put myself in the right rooms so I could stretch, because I don't ever want to get complacent. I don't ever want to get comfortable, and I want to evolve. I think that as a leader, and especially if you're desiring to be a leader, people should see that you are investing in yourself, because people want to follow people that they see that's growing and that could take them somewhere that they have never been. And then I think people need to also understand that you got to invest in your business. You got to invest in incentives. You got to invest in giveaways. You got to invest in trips. You got to invest in your team. Your income is, to me, in direct proportion to your network and how much you invest in yourself. And so if you continue to invest in yourself and invest in your business, remember, your greatest return comes from the investment that you make in yourself. And a lot of people, like Jesse said, you can't be afraid of the money. If you are afraid of the money, whatever you are afraid of, you're going to push it away. So be accepting of the money, believe that the money can come to you, and think about who should I invest in to learn from. A lot of times I think too many people learn from too many people. My strategy is that I try to focus on one trainer, one mentor, one coach's information at a time, so that my mind is not discombobulated because I'm trying to learn from too many people. And what happens? A confused mind does nothing. So we should always be investing in ourselves and investing back into our businesses.
Love this. Terry, want to add something, or we're going to move to the next one? But I think it's interesting, and obviously I left this question on purpose because it's so interesting, because what would you do when you get a big check? anytime you get any money, you invest starting like Lisa said, small, big, whatever, it depends on your ambition. It depends where you're going, right? If you want to make $1 million, guess what? Investing $10 not going to get you there. If you want to have a better quality of life, if you want to start asking, you need to start asking better quality questions, and you need to start surrounding with the better quality people. So recognizing that no matter when you make money or not make money, and if you're not making money, this is the reason why you have to do whatever the heck is necessary. And you heard before on the panel when we were talking about that, my name, just skip the name. I think Angie was saying that she went live. She was doing like 14-hour live by selling her products, by taking orders, by doing whatever it took so she can get back and she can continue to learn, she can continue to grow. But if we all so good to sell ourselves why we can't do certain things. But guess what? You cannot have results and excuses at the same time. One of these has to go. And you just need to decide what are you willing to give up, your results or your excuses. So investing in yourself, I am just like all of us, and you're gonna hear it many more times from anybody who is successful. They will tell you, you are your best and your biggest investment. There is no too much money that you can invest in yourself. There is no too much money you can invest in yourself. So we're gonna go to the next question, and it's Elizabeth Jones. What advice would you give someone who has been in the business for a couple of years and hasn't had the growth they've wanted, but are willing to do what it takes?
I've been here the longest, so hasn't had the growth they wanted. I don't even really understand the statement, because you're definitely getting the growth that you're working for, but if you're willing to do whatever it takes, every time you're exhausted and you can't make one more call, make one more call. When you don't want to take one more trip, take the trip. When you can't handle one more person calling you that might be the person that you together with you can go to the top, do that. Because I find that success lies not in the things people think it does, but in the doing when other people stop doing. I'm terrible at social media. I'm like so awful at it. But you know what? I'm good at other things, and there are worlds of people out there that are good at social media. So I could go find somebody who is great at social media and partner on with them. If you're willing to do whatever it takes, find out what that is and just do it. The one thing I want to say, in case this doesn't come back to me, is people tend to be selfish with their money, which keeps them from where the things that they should be investing in themselves. And they're way wasteful of their time. I am generous with my money. I am so selfish with my time. This is golden time right now, where you're at. It's not about getting on the stage. It's wonderful to be here. Ask these people how many times we've sat in the audience and we see people, because we did what it takes, that are on the stage that we help put there in some way, that are making us money. So get beyond yourself. If your business isn't growing, turn the camera around, look at who you're doing business with, who you're talking to, and someone else is waiting for you. Talk to people that are waiting, that are worth stopping for, if you want to get where you're going.
I love this. I'm so generous with my money, and I'm so selfish with my time. Woof! I love this so much.
We all start there, though. So I think we can all agree. When I started, I had an abundance of time and I had a lack of money. And the people that I was looking up to in business, they had an abundance of money and a lack of time. And so what I would suggest doing, if you're willing to do whatever it takes, or any of you doing, if you want to do some of what it takes, I guess, I knew I needed to learn by actually watching somebody work. And maybe that's just how I learn, but I'm still in the front row taking notes. I'm still very much so a student and a learner, but I'm very hands-on. And so I didn't act like a crazy person or anything. It might sound crazy what I'm about to say, but there was a woman who she was #1 in my first direct sales company, and she's making over $30,000 a month, which to me was like, woo-hoo-hoo! 22 and poor with a dream, baby. And I was like, how can I serve you?
Exactly. Yes.
How can I serve you? That's the question you need to ask. It turns into servant leadership later when you can do it back. But I asked her, how can I serve you? How can I support you? And it was not fun, okay? Service looked like packing orders, and service looked like me carpooling out to her house 2.5 hours away when I didn't have money or a car that could get there, and taking out her trash and taking care of her kids' stuff and cleaning out her refrigerator and managing her inventory and putting labels on envelopes. And I'm sitting there like, this is not what I was thinking. Like, this is really, I know I had an abundance of time, but for God's sake. And then the magic started happening because we can train you on everything, but the best lesson you can ever have is if you can get around us. And it's like Marina said, you cannot invite me to lunch, I won't show up. They won't either, okay? It's not because we're not rude, it's because we value our time. Because we don't really want to be asked 180 questions, just love y'all, but come on now, all right? It started happening when I would watch what she did, not what she trained. Does that make sense to everyone? So we can sit on stage and tell you all the things to do and give you all the awesome training. It's how we actually do it is the magic. So I would watch her, and then I would hear her. Back to scripts, she wasn't following the scripts. She had her own thing, man. And I'm like, hold on. Where are these? Actually, look at these labels I'm putting on here. These don't look like nobody else's labels. What is going? It was all the little nuances. It was all the little stuff. It was how she talked to people. It was how she even walked, at the mall, or how she approached people. It was all these little tiny things, how she treated others. And I said, okay, that's where the magic is. But I wouldn't have ever seen it if I stayed at home behind my telephone and behind my computer. I had to serve her. Sir, I was her servant. There is no other way to describe it. But it flipped one day, like Jim Rohn tells you, right? It flipped. I got it. And then all of a sudden, I started taking the actual recruiting scripts she was using, and I started deploying those on my prospects. And next thing you know, it was head-to-head, toe-to-toe. Wait a minute, why is Jesse Lee recruiting all this? Because I stole your scripts, fool. I'm like, wait a minute, I was serving you, but I was listening. And that's how, sometimes it's weird stuff like that. But if you're willing to do whatever it takes, it's going to be weird sacrifices. It's going to be things that you think don't make sense of your time, but it will all play out. You have to be a student of the game. In the game, yes, you can learn from events. Y'all are all at the right place, but I'm telling you right now, whoever your mentor is, you figure out a way to get their attention by serving. That's how you're going to learn.
Exactly. So everything that, of course, Jesse said, sentiments exactly. But you need to figure out, what are you not doing? What are you not doing? And what I see that a lot of people do is they make, more popular decisions than powerful decisions. You got to pay attention to who are you watching. It's not what's taught, it's what's caught. If you're doing everything it takes and you've been in your company for a while, who is the top earner? Find the top earner. I don't care if they're not in your upline. Find the top earner and go back to what they did 5, 10 years ago. And look at what they used to say and what they used to do and how they used to talk and how they used to dress. Because, I could be honest with you, the intensity of how I work now is not the intensity of how my work was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago. However, if you go back to my YouTube, see, success truly leaves clues. Go back to my YouTube. I have so much training. I love what Jesse said. I believe in 3 things. You serve your way, you earn your way, or you pay your way. And of course, a person cannot pay me enough to mentor them, especially in my network marketing company. I wouldn't even charge you, but find a way to serve. And it's not what's taught, it's what's caught. I've learned from watching. And there's so much that you can learn from watching the successful people. But now you have to ask yourself, what must I do differently? Because if you've been in the game for a long time, it's something that you're not doing. And when you find that one little thing that you got to tweak, I call it get litty. Learn from the top. Do not do what most people, don't learn from the popular person. Learn from the most powerful, most profitable person in your business. Because don't learn from, people learn from the middle, and the middle too close to the bottom. I'm not learning from the middle, I'm learning from the top. I always watch the top dogs in my companies, and I always out-earn the top dogs in my company. because
I
I never
caught that. Speaking of catching things, I get it.
I always wanted to learn from the top dogs. I listened to their calls. I listened to their jokes. I learned first. Learned from the top. Second thing, implement it exactly the way they do it. I'm talking about, like Jesse Lee said, memorize the scripts, try to talk like them, walk like them, smell like them. What perfume are you wearing? Emulate the hairdos. I'm talking about clothes and everything. Implement what you learned. And then find your own little way to tweak what you've learned. That caters to your audience. Because I'm obviously a black woman, and a lot of my uplines have been black men. So I have to do things a little different. I don't have a wife. I don't wear suits, you know. I don't wear men cologne. Well, not all the time, but sometimes, you know. So I tweak certain things. And then once you create success, then you teach it. You teach your team how to do it the way you had it in terms of the success route that you took. And then, yes, celebrate everything that you do and teach it back to your teams, but do it in a way. I believe that, you know, they like to say, you know, be success and be quiet. How that thing go? Let your success speak for you or whatever. No, I believe be loud. I call it LOL, lead out loud. Do everything loud. Make sure everybody sees it. Don't let them miss you. And know that your team is watching. And so if you're doing it wrong, they're going to do more of what you're doing wrong than what you're doing right. And so just follow the top dog. Whoever that person is, learn from the top dog. And decide that you're going to do it exactly the way they taught it, and then tweak it according to your audience.
So I love it. I mean, I think one of the things that I thought about when, you know, you had asked that question, I think a lot of times I actually felt that, you know, because I struggled a lot in this business, and I was like, well, why am I not farther ahead? Why am I not where I want to be? And I think one of the things is I learned how to have a totally different perspective where, number one, God was like, if you're not grateful for where you are and where you're at, and you can't be happy with what, even if it's not where you want to be, he's like, I'm not going to give you more. So first of all, like, you have to be grateful for where you're at. But number two, I also understood that I needed to release the pressure of having to get to that next rank, or how come I'm not growing faster, or I'm not hitting that? And I really just focused on, am I better today than I was yesterday? And if the answer is yes, then I have to cut myself some slack. Am I continuously growing? Am I continuously moving forward? But also, too, when I decided to stop, like, chasing the rank and chasing the title and all of that, and I just said, you know what? There's something that I still need to learn so that when I do hit that place, I'm prepared to be the leader at that rank versus why haven't I hit that? And so it really helped me when I released that pressure of having to grow faster or get to a rank, and just said, you know what? There's experience that I haven't gone through, a situation I haven't grown through, a conflict resolution that I haven't, you know, went through to prepare me for that next level. And that has just served us so well. Tony and I, we still do that to this day. And so I just want to encourage people, like, release the pressure of having to get to that next rank and having to, and I'm not saying not strive, but I just think sometimes that really, like, paralyzes us, instead of just saying, hey, am I better today? What did I learn today? What did I do awesome today? And celebrate that and just keep one foot in front of the other every day moving forward.
Yes, it's a very good point, Sarah, because it takes different time for all of us for that penny to drop. You know, for that moment becoming non-negotiable, yes? For, you know, something in your life becoming non-negotiable and worth fighting for. You get to the point where you're sick and tired. You know, you get to the point where you're done crawling through life, or whatever it might be. I think that you're probably not there yet. You're kind of like tiptoeing, and like when you say, like, I'm willing to do whatever it takes, but I will challenge you a little bit on that, because you did not do what it takes up till this moment, and I'm saying it with all my love, right? But like all these ladies said, watch what they do, because are you really willing to live all this every single day, all those crazy actions that all the top achievers do? Are you really willing to put yourself in their shoes and run as fast and as hard as they run? Are you willing to invest in yourself on such a powerful level as they're doing? Are you willing to duplicate and replicate your top income earners or the top achievers, what they're doing and how they're doing things? Are you willing to actually do all that stuff? And if the answer is yes, when the student is ready, the mentor will appear. So I feel like you are ready for that moment, and I want to congratulate you for recognizing it, and I want to encourage you for finally giving yourself permission that you are enough, giving yourself permission that you're worthy of achieving great success, because that might be a challenge too. There might be some self-worthiness issue that is keeping you down and not allowing you to fly. Maybe there is that underdog thing, or maybe it's like fear of money. Maybe, I don't know what it is for you. I don't know you well enough, but there is something that was holding you back for all this time. And I feel like now you're ready. I feel like now you're ready to step into your true power. And when you're looking for a mentor, the one advice I would give you is ask yourself a question. Am I willing to trade places with them?
Oh, that's good.
Because if the answer is not, maybe there should not be your mentor. Because there is a lot of people out there who are talking a good game, right? Who are talking what sounds nice from stage and rhyming and all these different things, right? But if they're not where you want to be, and if you not wish to trade places with them in both ways, right? With the success and the hard work. Right? If you do not want to live by the price tag, don't try to look at your clock. Okay? Don't live by your clock, because sometimes you're going to have those sleepless nights. Sometimes you'll have to go out and make huge sacrifices. Not sometimes, a lot. You'll have to go through the walls. You will have to face your fears. So it comes with a price, right? It comes with success. So if you're willing to do what it takes, you're absolutely going to be on a great path, and you will find the right person to train you on that. I know I have a lot more questions and not enough time. So real quick, and I still want to kind of run through two of them, right? Quick answer to the question, what was the biggest mistake? And this is the question by Heidi Biggs. What has been the biggest mistake you have made, and how did that change you? Real quick. Just a couple sentences. Biggest
Mine's
mistake.
Fast. I got it fast. I got angry. What the hell? Anger is a worthless emotion in your business, okay? And it affects the way you look at everything. It affected the way that I allowed people to come into my heart, which I got a big old bleeding heart, so that was not good for me. I got angry, and honestly, it's worthless. So the faster you can build your bridge and get over it when people hurt you, listen, hurt people, okay? It's just a fact, and you cannot let that hurt your heart. Keep your heart soft. The softer your heart is, I'm telling you, better and better people will come into your life, and you will see how beautiful and blessed this life is. So I got angry, and it messed me up for way too long.
The biggest mistake I ever made, and continue to make over and over again, was the fear of failure, and I had an epiphany. If we're not ready to fail, we're not ready to learn. So write that down, because I am always willing to learn. Therefore, failure, I don't only accept it, I embrace it, because it means I'm still on a learning path.
My biggest mistake is not respecting that there's something called the danger of familiarity. Allowing people to get too close and being like their friend, and then they forget that I have the accolades, the skill set, the strategy, and allowing them to get too close to the point where they lose respect, and they no longer allow me to coach them. And then I look back, and their biggest checks was when I was their coach and their mentor, and watching them just lose their income, lose everything, because I became their friend, and I forgot that I was their coach and their mentor. And then second thing I would say is overly edifying someone because they make a lot of money, but they have, see, rich to me means respect, integrity, character, and honor. So I would no longer overly edify someone because they make a lot of money. I would respect if they have respect, integrity, character, and honor. So the danger of familiarity and not over edifying someone because they make a lot of money, because normally it's kind of temporary.
Love it, love it, love it. Sarah?
Biggest mistake that I made, I'd say, is second guessing myself, big time. You know, I think most of us are women here in the room, and we have amazing intuition, and God gave it to us for a reason. Whenever we like do something based off our intuition, how many of us are like, oh my God, I'm so glad that I trusted my gut? And how many times when we don't trust our gut and it's knocking, right, and we don't do it, what do we say? God, I knew I should have trusted it. So I think for me, it's just learning how to like really, like if you have that intuition of you need to talk to that person or need to make another call or you need to have that meeting or you need to do what you need in this business, like you have to run with that. Like don't second guess what you're doing because you've got it.
Love it. And again, real quick, because that seems like a repeating theme in a lot of different questions. We started that question yesterday, and a lot of people watching you today, and you being successful and powerful, but we all know that's not where we started. That's not how we began. What was the biggest advice that you would give to this little girl who how many years ago, was thinking about becoming the woman that you've become? And what was the biggest thing that you would tell her to do, be, believe? What is your advice to your younger self?
My life changed when I realized it wasn't a multiple choice question. We all act like, can we do this? Or when I finally changed my life is when I realized I would have rather hid under the bed, but nobody was coming to save me. So the only choice on the box was build a house under a bed or get out from under the bed and go to friggin' work. So don't keep telling yourself you have choices that you don't, because it keeps you from the choices that you do have. And there's a world of wonderful choices if you eliminate the choice of doing nothing.
I was trying to delay it. I'm feeling emotional already. Ooh! I don't like crying on stage. I'm still healing her. Like, I don't know who needs to hear that, but like, I know I'm like badass. Like, I know this, okay? But I came from not an awesome childhood, and I came from not an awesome upbringing, period. And, you know, domestic violence and sending my dad to jail when I was 9 and feeling like I had to be the tough girl all the time because if I wasn't tough and I didn't protect myself, who was going to? And, yeah, so I just learning to love myself even more. And trust myself more and know that, I said it a little bit earlier on stage, but faith only really matters when things are not good.
Isn't that the truth?
Because if, at the end of it, like when you're buying the Escalade and, you know, and sliding the check across the table, or you're buying all the clothes and the jewelry and the whatever, like, oh, I had faith all along, woo-wee! No. When you lose your business, when people betray you, when you're getting attacked on the internet, when everything you thought was going to be one way turns out to be 1,000 different ways, like, we're human. You know, we're all human. And so I don't even remember the original question, but I mean, guys, it's not perfect, okay? And everyone's been up here today and said things like, if you can do it, so can I. If you can do it, so can I. If you can do it, so can I. I still have to do mirror work where I talk to myself in the mirror and I tell myself I'm amazing. And I still have to tell myself I'm worthy. And I had to get a little buzzed in Europe to buy the Dolce & Gabbana and the whatever, because I'm like, damn, Jessie Lee, this is some expensive stuff. You deserve it. Marina and Eric are going to yell at you. Spend the money, spend the money, spend the money. You know, and showing people an example of everything. And like, it's worth the sacrifice. It's all I can tell you guys is it's worth the sacrifice. And not because the clothes and the jewelry and the money and the cars and the houses and the planes. And it has nothing to do with that. It's about the person you become on this journey to better. It's about the person it's not about being the millionaire, okay? It's about who we've become to become decamillionaires plus, right? Like, you don't all of a sudden wake up and know how to speak on a stage. You don't all of a sudden wake up and have the confidence to go on live video. You don't all of a sudden wake up and love yourself. It's a constant reminder that you were put here for a bigger reason than yourself. And allowing God to speak through you and not overthinking every single little thing we do and not questioning your DMOs and your mentor and everything in between and just being and living and loving. And so I would just say I would have loved more, and I would have loved myself more, and I would have loved out loud sooner. I love so boldly online now and in person, and I'm not stopping anymore. And so that's all I'll say about that.
Love this.
You know, like I'm sitting on this stage and I'm like really like taking it all in. So if you're watching me, you're probably like, is she slow? Like she's drifting around, looking around. But like I remember being in the audience, and I remember watching virtually, and I remember seeing myself on this stage. I remember seeing myself on every stage that I've put myself on in the last 12 months. I mean, I have Eric and Marina Worry like as friends. I've been on the phone with Eric for an hour, and he's like, that's my friend. He calls me, hey, my friend, you know, Grant, my friend, you know. It's like a beautiful thing when 3 things: be, do, have. You could be anything that you want, Stormy Nicole Wellington. There is no limitation to who you could be, but what must you become? I tell myself every day, all that I wanted to become, I became, therefore I am. I'm always seeing myself different. I'm grateful for my life right now, but I see myself so much further along. I see myself impacting so many more lives. And one thing I can tell you about everybody on this panel, we make money, like we have money, but the fulfillment of what must I do now? What must my contribution be? Like, I have a mission statement for my life, and the mission of my life is to be one of the most impactful women that ever lived, while living a quality of life and doing whatever I want for myself and others. Like, I remind myself of that every day. Like, Stormy, don't forget the Stormy who you used to be, the Stormy on Section 8, the Stormy on food stamps, the Stormy who used to steal food, the Stormy who had her first child at 15. Like, you need to be proud, but you still got a lot of work to do. And have, what must I do? Who must I become in order for me to have? Like, I want to be happy for all the days of my life. I want to live full and die empty. You know, I typed in my phone the other day, live to live, not give your life to live. I don't want to be in confinement to a job or be worried about money and worrying about when I lay in the bed at night, like, what did I not do? Because there's another Stormy Wellington out there that needs me to show up every single day. And so, like you, Jesse, I'm still redefining me. I look in the mirror proud, but I'm always looking at myself like, what else must I do? What else must I learn? What mastermind do I need to invest in? Who do I need to spend some time with? Who do I need to stop spending time with? What book must I read? What audio must I listen to now? What should I go to sleep listening to? What habits must I change? And, you know, like you, Jesse, I forgot the question, but I just feel like, for real, be, do, have. When she first asked the question, I remember that's what I was going to say. What must I be? What must I do in order to have? And just know that the only limits is the ones that you put on yourself. And don't limit yourself. Contribute to yourself. And keep growing and keep going.
I love it. So the question again is, what advice you would give to your younger version?
That was it. That was the advice I would have
But
given
it was a good answer. The answer actually was great. So
that was
it was
it.
perfect. Yeah. So Sarah, what about you? What the advice you would give to your younger self?
Are you guys so inspired sitting here right now? I'm just sitting here so humbled. I'm just like, oh my gosh. I love you guys. I'm so grateful to be up here. Oh my God, I would tell myself, you are that light, you know, and that it's worth it. And some of you guys know, like, my story. My mom died when I was 2 years old. My dad got remarried, and I have an amazing mom. And I still feel like, even though I was 2 years old, I never met my mom. I never knew what she looked like. I just know from pictures. But I feel like for a long part of my life, I feel like I had abandonment issues, even though I have an amazing, amazing mom. And I feel like there was times that I was always felt like, why did she die? Like she left me. Like, was I not enough? Did I not, why am I here? And I think my whole life I've shared this a little bit, but my whole goal, I never got into network marketing to make money ever. I got into network marketing because I wanted to freaking be somebody. That is the whole reason I joined this business. I never joined because of the car. I never joined because of the house. I never joined because like any of this stuff, but I wanted to be somebody. Like that's really what I wanted. And I wanted to like somehow fit in because I was that kid that like, I never fit in. I had a ton of friends, but I still felt at the end of the day, like I was still kind of alone. And I fell in love with the possibility of what could be here with this amazing community. And so my mission, because of that, is like I never want people to feel the way that I have felt or had felt for so long. And so my mission is to be that lighthouse. And my saying to that girl is to say, you became that light. You know, like be proud of that light. And so I'm shining bright, and I'm such in a great place, and I'm just grateful to be here.
Yes, you are.
I love this. And what I would say to myself, my younger version, is I was blessed because I had a gift since I was a little girl that I was told that I can achieve everything I want in life. I'm strong, I'm powerful. And I was little and naive at that time, and I believed that. And different challenges in life and different obstacles and all the stuff that happened, it took that belief from me. And it took me time to find my confidence back, to find my belief back, you know. Even like years later when I started calling myself a badass, I didn't quite believe that, you know. I surrounded myself with the signs, like with a little logo here, with a little thing there, you know, I'm a badass, yeah, I'm a badass. But, you know, deep inside, I didn't believe in it. So I was kind of like speaking the truth into the existence. I was trying to convince myself and rebuild that confidence to the level that I wanted to get to. And when I found already higher level of confidence and courage for myself, I made myself a promise that, first of all, I never want to lose this. I love this woman way more, right? More strong, more powerful. I believe that there is nothing sexier than the confident and financially independent woman.
Yes.
Amen.
And for me, becoming that, so I don't have to worry about it. Just like I said on the panel, I don't have to depend on a man. I don't have to need a man. I don't have to, you know, hope them or him or whoever else to make me happy. I am happy with who I am. But I choose this man. I choose, you know, because I want to be with him. I want to be with my community. I want to do this, not because I need to, but because I want to, because I choose to. So for me, understanding that and taking that responsibility seriously to pass that knowledge, pass that information, what I had to go through, what I had to do to find myself back, to find that confidence back, and pass it on to as many people as I possibly can, to as many women specifically as I can, because I know there are so many millions and millions of girls who either had that gift since the early age, and even more millions or billions of girls who were told since they were little that you're nothing, that you're just a woman, you're not meant to be and do big things, because that's not what women meant to do. And I want to tell all these girls that, and all these women, you are a badass. You are a queen. You are that diamond. That there is, like Sarah said, you are that light. You just need to let that light to shine so brightly. You just need to give yourself permission to let that light out for the world to see, for you to enjoy, and for everybody to finally recognize, and you, first of all, recognize the power. So for me, giving myself permission to dream bigger, faster, that would be and believe in myself fully and love myself unconditionally probably would be the biggest gift that I would give myself or any other woman I can. And thinking and seeing every other thing that you see in the world that you want, and looking at all these successful women, understanding that you can have it. You absolutely can. It's just the question is, who do I need to become in order to get it, in order to become that woman? And you kept hearing the same message in different words, right? But every woman on this stage said, who did I need to become in order to achieve something that I really wanted? And I do live by this, and I do believe that there are no limits. Absolutely none. You can have absolutely everything. It's just a question is, are you willing to do what it takes to become the woman or the man that can have that, or can achieve that, or can impact in such a powerful way, and I do believe all of you can. So thank you so much for this amazing panel. I had a lot of fun. I learned a lot of things. So please help me give a huge applauses to this amazing group of women.
What's wrong with that?
And
Can't hold
I love you guys.
Yeah, I'm a badass woman. Just made like that. But I'm proud of that.
Let's take a big...
I'm a badass woman. Never second guess me. 'Cause baby, I'm the boss. Don't underestimate me. 'Cause I'm the one in charge.